Hello, welcome to the KCY show. The saying history repeats itself. We are living now in a history repeating, as I would say it. With this convoy in Canada, this is basically people rising up against the government, saying we had enough from all this dictatorship and this suppressing government. This convoy is basically a strike to go against the government. Now, all throughout history, every time the government went and suppressed people rose up and said we had enough, and usually the people won because the government always thought, yeah, we're gonna win, we're the government, and they didn't think about the people. If they get together, they will win. And this is basically happening right now in Canada. The government went and suppressed people around the world. It happened, and in Canada it happened like extra special. And the people said we had enough. We're sick and tired of having a government telling us how to live and what to do, making curfews, lockdowns, mask mandates, other mandates, all kinds of mandates. And people said, we had enough. We're not going to listen anymore. So this is not just broadcasting a message that's going on right now. This is a strike. Most trailer drivers in Canada striked against the government, and they are not going back to work as long the mandates still exist. And if there's no trailer drivers, there is no economy. There's no way of getting goods from one place to the next, any merchandise, anything, only through trailer drivers. And this is exactly what's happening right now in Canada. And a whole bunch of factories had to temporarily shut down because they couldn't get anything to the factory, raw material or finished material, outside to the stores or whatever is supposed to go. That means that people don't have jobs at the moment, and the Canadian government is going to have to bend to the people, or they will literally find themselves without an economy. It is kind of very wonderful and interesting to think about how can like a government can collapse just because there's no money coming in. It's like going to default by itself, something like that. And everybody could think, what? Yeah, we could literally see it in our lifetimes. Another few weeks goes by, the trailer drivers don't go back to work. There is no merchant going back and forth anywhere it's supposed to go, and the entire Canadian government can shut down by itself. And I'm actually very proud of this. Finally, people came to the realization that we're not going to let ourselves being suppressed by a totalitarian government, calling themselves democracy and freedom through using abuse against people and suppressing people, making people like chickens and rugs. And the people have decided that's it. We had it, and we are not afraid, and we're going to show that we're not afraid, and we're going to rise up against the government legally. This is 100% legal, and soon is to be followed in the United States and I hear in Europe as well. Wish them good luck, and hopefully this will bring an end to this whole nightmare of being suppressed by governments. And what's going to happen by then, we are going to see. Let's wait and see. We are living in a very interesting time, and it's a very difficult time. So I guess it's difficult in an interesting way. So let's keep to the interesting. And more interesting that I actually found to be that it's Canada. As far as I know, Canadians are more like laid back people. They're like, oh, I'm going to turn the light off. Of course, I have to say off. I'm going to go to bed. Or, just go shovel my snow or something like that. They're absolutely not this kind of people going around and fighting against governments, which just brings us back to the Canadian government being the same type of people, being more laid back, and also not knowing what to do because they're so laid back and they thought the whole country is laid back. and suddenly people rise up. So I'm kind of impressed that the sleepy Canadians, as I will call them, are actually pretty awake. So I'm saying, imagine if the sleepy Canadians can be so awake and make such a big strike that the prime minister and the whole parliament are technically peeing in their pants. They don't even know what to do, and their ego will not let them change their mind. Or, other words, because they're puppets, and the people who put them into power will not let them change their minds, their words. It's not their minds, because I don't think they have minds from the first place. They're a bunch of dummies just following orders. So I wonder if the Canadians, who are the sleepy type of people, can do such a thing. How it's going to end up happening with a wild America once people actually wake up from their sleep and realizing what the government is doing to us. So I could understand why Canada went before the United States, because they suppressed the people way stronger than over here and way earlier with way harsher ways. And the United States was mostly quiet. Most places in America, there wasn't even lockdowns as much, very little, so people didn't feel the obligation that we have to go against until we saw our neighbors in Canada doing the same thing, because there is some restrictions and the way the government is trying to get what Canada is doing. So there's a reason why to go out and to strike, technically to fight in a legal direction. So it's interesting that it's Canadians, and I'm impressed. And the question is, in Americans, since we have a Sleepy Joe for president, so he's busy sleeping in his basement there. Like, how does it gonna work? Like, the convoy is gonna get closer to DC, and his people are gonna call him down with the income bell. How's it work there? They're gonna say, "Hey, Mr. President, there's a convoy coming towards DC. It's still in Nevada. What are you supposed to do?" What is he gonna say? "Oh, leave me alone. I'm busy pulling my dog's legs, my dog's tails, while children like to uh, they see my hairy legs turning white by the pool, or and I'm calling Senator Manchin to build back build better build back, better fund the build back better, blah, 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 blah." I'm not even sure where I'm standing. Like, how's it work? That's the system how it works in the White House? Like, I'm not sure. I guess let the interesting part play out to itself. Have a good day.